What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning into the first ever Nullified Gaming podcast. I'm your host, Nick, and we got a good show to kick off the first podcast. You can find me at twitch.tv/Nullified Gameplay, Nullified Gaming on Instagram, and Nullified Games on Twitter. We have a guest for our first episode, my good friend Jesse.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, so good. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. So we're going to kick it off with some news today. So first off, Nintendo's online service got an expansion pack with N64, Sega Genesis. So far, it's not looking great for N64.
Yeah. So my roommate Bill actually just purchased this, and that's pretty well the only exposure I've had.
Yeah, it's pricing's pretty rough on it. I went to go get it the night it came out, and I'm in bed and I'm gonna get this just before I go to bed. And I go to sign up for the family plan because it's better if you get the family plan, and it ended up being $119.99 for this whole N64 thing. I could come down into the games room and I can play it down here for free because I have it on my N64.
What do they call this? Just Nintendo Online? Nintendo Switch Online?
Yeah. It's like Nintendo Switch Online service, and it's like you get to stream these games, and you don't get to stream them. I didn't even know this at first, but you could like actually play them and not have to stream them as long as you go back to like a Wi-Fi connection within a week, and you can play it outside of your house, which is pretty cool too.
Oh, that's really interesting, actually. Okay, So here's a question. Please tell me you don't have to pay for the games after you've paid for this service, right?
No.
Okay,
the games they all just come in with the service, but it's only select titles. So I think it was The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
It looks like we got Super Mario 64, Mario Kart, Star Fox, Yoshi's Story, Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't even know what that one is.
Winback.
Winback.
I love Winback. I actually hunted Winback down. I have a physical copy of that game.
Is that an FPS rail shooter?
No, it's a third-person cover-based shooter. I feel like it's like the first of its kind back in the day.
Okay, I swear to God, I've seen you play this.
Yeah, definitely. You had to have seen.
Is that the one where the magazine is on the screen with all the cartridges in it?
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen you play that.
Yeah, it's good. It has good music. I love it.
Sure.
I was really surprised to see it on there. And like Sin and Punishment, we didn't get that over here in the West, so it's cool to have that there. And then the Sega Genesis stuff doesn't even make sense.
So are they going to they're going to be adding onto this list though, right? I mean they got it, right?
That's the thing. If Nintendo adds on to this and adds like GameCube, and since they have Sega, they could add Dreamcast, they could add Sega Saturn,
Sega Game Gear, Sega Master System.
Yeah, it could get all of it, like it doesn't make sense to have Genesis on it because you could buy a Genesis collection for, I think I got it on sale for $19.99, and it has all of like the main titles of the Sega. Better emulation, which is another thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, it has more of a collection than the actual online service. If you guys actually want to play more games, go pick that up instead of getting this, because if you want to just play Sega, that's the way to do it. I mean, they didn't even put Altered Beast on it, I'm pretty sure.
No, I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, and that's like Altered Beast is like Sega.
Well, that's one of the famous ones. There's Gunstar Heroes, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2, that's
naturally
pretty much the only game anybody's ever played on Sega Genesis. Me.
I feel like
no,
if
that's not true.
Somebody sees this and goes, "Oh, Sonic, like that's the only way I can play Sonic." They don't even know. It's like, "Oh, I see Sonic, man, I gotta get this." No, not at all. Anyway, so
yeah, I was gonna say they had Sega Genesis games on the Nintendo Wii back in the day, didn't they?
Yes, and
right. Okay.
Virtual Console. Well, even though you had to pay you had to pay a little bit for one game, it wasn't even that expensive.
Yeah, but you got what you wanted if it was there.
Yeah, and they just pushed everything onto this. Like Virtual Console had like so many games.
Well, they had
Ocarina
of Time, they had Master Quest, they had Sega games.
Yeah, they had Sega games. I think they had NES. Yeah, they had NES. I don't know if they had Super Nintendo though. Did they?
Yep, they did.
They did. Okay. Yeah, I just it's so strange.
Well, it's beating a dead horse, kind of. It seems like. I mean, there's always going to be a market for classics, but It kind of the political side of me is thinking like, oh my god, how much blood do they need to squeeze from a stone? But that's why I'm a poor, right?
Yeah. So back to emulation.
Okay.
You can emulate any of this stuff. This could be a good segue because I was gonna say, you don't have to pay for this. Okay, I want to say this right out of the gate.
Of course.
You could emulate Super Nintendo, NES, Sega back when Windows 98
yeah,
when computers came out basically.
I had a oh my god, Microsoft Windows 2000. No, it wasn't 2000. Well, ME, is that 2000? Yeah, ME. Millennium Edition. It's called Millennium Edition. It was a piece of crap. Yeah. Anyway, so I had a Super Nintendo emulator on there, and it worked okay.
Yeah, and the problem with this is they're just taking emulators and they're putting it on this service, and then you're paying for it. And since there's so many emulators out there, there's better emulators than what they're using. And the N64 emulator that they're using, and I know there's names for all these emulators. I don't know the names of them. I just know that what they're using is an inferior emulator than what they could be using.
Sure. Well, I'm sure the Nintendo Switch's hardware is inferior to most people's computer.
True, but it's all about like the coding and how well it's all about lag input or input lag and sound delay and frame rate, and that's all in the emulator, right? It's all how it's made. And this, so I was looking into it, and somebody had compared the Super Mario All-Stars 3D that came out recently. It was this limited thing that Nintendo's doing where they bring out a game and they only sell it for this amount of time, and then they don't sell it anymore. And so we picked that up. We have it. We fell right into that trap. And
got him.
The N64 emulator on the Nintendo Online service was not as good as the emulator that was in for the same game, because Super Mario 64 is in this pack as well.
Oh.
And the input lag was greater on the Nintendo Online service N64 emulator than it was on a Nintendo licensed emulator as well. I don't even if you can say licensed. I'm sure it is, but on this cartridge, it was better, which doesn't make any sense. Why couldn't it be the same thing?
Right. Okay.
Doesn't make sense. It's fishy. There's fishy things going on.
Well, yeah, fishy, but you know what? That's also disappointing. I mean, don't get me wrong. You and I, we grew up with N64s, and okay, they were good for the time. But of course, if we picked one up now, it's like, oh wow, this is choppy. Oh wow, look at how many polygons are on screen. But it doesn't matter because that's how we grew up, and we associate good fond memories with that. But at the same time, for you to be able to look at what they've offered in 2021 and be slightly disappointed, that's rough.
For something that's so old, that should be very easy to emulate.
Yeah.
Yeah, the frame rate isn't the biggest issue. In my opinion, I don't think like an average person, in all fairness, would be like, "Oh, this is unplayable. I can't play this." But like they're missing out on a whole community of people who play these games as speedrunners as well. They can't do this on their Nintendo Online service. They can't play that.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
Anyway, on to the next thing. Resident Evil 4. We're buying it again, buddy.
Yeah. Well,
VR.
You know what? I gotta say, now, RE4, I'm gonna look this up. RE4 is one of those games that I have played so much, and there was never any, well, in my experience, there was never any controversy. There was literally nothing that left a bad taste in my mouth about Resident Evil 4. So if they want to release it again and put it in VR, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah. And from what I see and what I hear, like, it's great. It's on the Oculus Quest 2, if anyone's wondering. It's out now. You can go and pick it up now if you wanted to, but from what I'm hearing, people are having a good time with it, and who wouldn't? It's Resident Evil 4 in VR.
For real.
I mean, I watched a guy. He was shooting one of the Ganados with a shotgun. He put the shotgun in his other hand, and he took out his handgun, and he was shooting the other Ganados far away. And then he brought back the shotgun and blew the Ganado's head off.
Now, okay. I don't know. That says it right there. VR is just unbelievable. I mean, I would say anybody who's never tried it, at least go and try it. Like, you can go to like Control V, or a lot of people I'm sure have these Oculus now. Now some of the games are a little bit like clumsy, is what I would say. But the newer they get, the better they get.
Oh yeah, and what was that one we played at Control V? Oh, by the way, everybody, if Control V it's a VR. What would VR
arcade? It's a VR arcade.
Yeah, arcade in Ontario. If you ever want to look it up, I think they're only in Ontario, right?
I have a feeling there might be one in Alberta, but let me just look that up.
Little ad spot for.
Yeah, sure.
Throw us some money.
Might be BC as well. Definitely Ontario, obviously.
Yeah.
And then there is one in Edmonton, Bear, wherever that is, and Coral Springs, wherever that is. I feel it's either BC or Alberta.
There you go, guys. Check it out if you're in the Bear area or where was the other one? Coral Springs?
Coral Springs, something like that.
Go check it out. It's a cool place. They watch you and make sure you're not walking into walls and everything, and it's good. Cool place. Yeah. What was that one game we were playing there? It was that zombie one there. That was fun.
Oh, Arizona Sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
That's very addicting. So that's on Steam. Anybody who has an Oculus can get that.
Yeah. And that's all they do there. They just have Steam running, and they have 4. What was it, 4 or 5? Was it more than that?
What? 4 or 5 what?
Oculuses at once.
Oh, you can have up to 10, I believe.
Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of them. Yeah, and they just hook them all up, and they just run Steam, and they run the game, and that's it.
Yeah, basically like well, I guess you're all over the internet, but it's a LAN party VR. It's good stuff. And I think it's worth the money too.
Yeah, it was a really good time. Yeah, so I if this comes to PS4 VR in any way, shape, or form, I will pick it up. I don't have an Oculus Quest.
Are they still doing that for PS4? Like, are they still making games?
Well, they're making I believe they're making a VR 2 for the PS5.
Okay. I should hope so. I mean, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, in a segue to the games of the month, we get 3 bonus games for PS4 and PS5, and they're all VR games. And it's the Walking Dead VR game. If you're interested in that, that's free. And that's how I get my VR games. So I don't buy them.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Resident Evil 8 free DLC. Capcom has said that they're going to put out DLC that's going to be free for Resident Evil 8 Village. I don't know what this is going to be, but it's Capcom. So that's what I'll say.
Yeah.
So in the past, they usually love to capitalize on costumes for Street Fighter. They're always... But Monster Hunter has been great for DLC. Like, they only did the one expansion, and it was an actual expansion onto the game. It wasn't just one extra monster you had to fight. They were putting out free monsters, and then it was like, oh, you want to add on to the story? Well, you can get the expansion.
Monster Hunter, Lord of Destruction.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was very Diablo-like.
Yeah.
It was like, I liked that. I like that they did that. And I hope that we see that more in the future, where it's like, sure, we're going to keep supporting this game, and if we have a content that is worth adding on to the game later, that's actually worth it, we'll put it as an expansion.
Yeah, and you know what? The fact that it's free, that sounds amazing.
But they also could do what they did in Rise and not finish the game at all. In Monster Hunter Rise, they just didn't have the end of the game done.
Oh my goodness!
And that's.
Did they sell it to you?
No, they didn't sell it to you.
Okay.
They did add it as free DLC, but that's the other side of the DLC coin.
Well, yeah, but you know what? I really have to say that To be honest, most games are like that. Even AAA titles. Like, if you look at Cyberpunk, it's like there's so many problems at launch, and then they have to patch it, right? And sure, it's a little bit different from like they didn't finish the game, so they got to patch in the ending as DLC. But it's kind of the same thing. I mean, people the publishers rush to get a game out, and then it's riddled with problems because of all the tight timelines and whatnot. And people really want the games out when the date is, right? So
yeah, and then they complain when it comes out that it's not finished but
yeah.
And a lot of it too is stockholders. Stockholders want the game out because they
don't play the game,
making money. They don't care.
Yeah.
Quality doesn't matter. They want the money. And I think that I can't say it's so hard to say. CD Projekt Red I like CD Projekt Red because I like The Witcher 3 a lot.
No, you didn't.
I did. I like The Witcher 3 a lot. And I was really excited for Cyberpunk. And
yeah, sure.
It made me a little sad because they were such a beloved developer, right? Oh man. CD
well, the problem is though, believe it or not, I played The Witcher 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I am sure. I played it a bit. No, anyways, so
I dipped my toe in it.
Yeah. So you can tell that I see, and I don't even know if it was the Witcher universe or CD Projekt Red's passion or both, but you can just feel they put their soul into this game. Like, they read all the source material, they referenced the books, they basically designed a world from printed books. And we've all seen the Netflix show, but I'm sure we've all seen the Netflix show and they look nothing like the games, right? But I don't know, every time I picture things as I'm reading those books, it's like I'm picturing things in the game. So that's what I'm saying. Like, CDPR, they just put everything they had into it. And maybe it just didn't quite happen that much. It became more of a chore for them with Cyberpunk. Yeah, I don't know.
Not to mention, there was a lot of promises made, and I think they were too big. Like, they tried to be too big for their britches. And as much as they're a AAA developer, which they're not. Sure. Everyone's like, did they only have the one-hit wonder? Is The Witcher 3 going to be their swan song and that's it?
Oh, what a shame. The Witcher 1 and 2 are so good too.
I know, and it gets so overshadowed by it, right?
Yeah, well, how many people have played The Witcher 3 and never even
yeah.
Of course they know that there's a Witcher 1 and 2, but yeah. But anyway, you know what? Going back to your RE8 the speculation.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's really hard to say. I don't know what they could do for DLC. I think they're gonna just drop gun skins and maybe add some guns, maybe add some things to mercenaries.
Yeah, I never got to play this one, but I've played almost every other Resident Evil, and I don't really know what else they would do. That's always a safe bet, right? Oh, gold-plated gun skins. Wow.
Yeah, and they have these little
do that.
They have these little charms that hang off your guns in the game that you can get, purely cosmetic, but you can get them and they're dangling off your gun. That's it.
Well, I mean, we also have to look back. I got to bring a little bit of my cynicism back. It is free, so how much could it be?
Yeah, but like I said, they've surprised us in the past. We don't know what they could do. I for one am behind Capcom these days. I think they're crushing it. I think they went from Capcom, who's that, to damn, with RE2 remake and everything coming back.
They knocked those games out of the park. 2 and 3. Yeah. I mean, 3, some people probably didn't like it, but at the same time, it's a quality game.
Yeah, it's like a reimagining of Resident Evil 3. It's not really
the twin snakes of Resident Evil 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go there. That brings us into our next topic: Konami selling its IPs to indie developers.
Oh man. This is a good thing, because without this, we would never see any of our beloved Konami titles. But now I am going to draw some experience from another game that I felt suffered from this, Halo. So, when 343 Industries or whatever, basically Bungie made Halo 1, 2, and 3 and ODST, but then when Halo 4 came out, it was good, but it was just really different. And to be honest with you, it basically killed my interest in the whole franchise.
Yeah.
It felt like Battlefield in a suit. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's
just
the guns handled differently. It just kind of seemed like, again, going back, there was no passion in it. But maybe that's just me.
Yeah. No, I agree. I never played 4, 5, whatever, 6, 7. I don't know how many Halos I don't even know how many Halos they made after that. Infinite's not even out yet. It's already a horrible flop.
Well, that's the thing, though. You know what? I can't be cynical because you never know. People like, obviously, people who design games, I'm sure they play them too. And I've never really met anybody that said, oh, Metal Gear Solid sucks. Like, I would never play that game. Or like, Silent Hill. Silent Hill's nothing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, going back to Konami, we've already seen some more Castlevania games. Castlevania's out there and being developed.
Contra?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Contra. They just came out with a new Contra.
And really?
Yeah, they did. It was a horrible flop.
Rogue Core?
That sounds about right, yeah.
That was 2019. I mean, I think we can all just kind of take a look at those three main ones. Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, and
Castlevania.
And Castlevania. Yeah, because those are pretty
Those
great.
are their most well-known and their most successful franchise. Well, I mean, Contra was back in the day, but it's like seeing a celebrity on that Celebrity Rehab. It's like, oh God, what happened?
Well, that's the thing. I think when people think Contra, they don't think that it's new. For example, I had no idea that there was a new Contra game.
Yeah,
and to be honest, I don't even care. I would probably just go back and play the old ones. Yeah. Or any Contra clone that there is.
Yeah, what we want to see, and we all want to see it, is a new Metal Gear. We all want to see it.
They could just finish 5. That would be good.
I mean, there's so many rumors going around that 1 is being remade, and I don't want to see 1 remade yet.
Now, when you say 1, do you mean Metal Gear 1 or Metal Gear Solid 1?
Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
I want to see 1 and 2, Metal Gear 1 and 2, be made in current gen.
Right.
It wouldn't be that hard. Make it 1 game.
Sure.
Make it 1 game and make it 2 chapters. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
1 game, 2 chapters.
And that's the thing. If you play the first games, they're pretty simple. I mean, the top-down view it works for the environment in that game, but you don't even have to have it like 1-to-1. Like you walk into this room and it's a reimagining of the first game. No, it can just be, they can change everything around to fit the style of play.
What was it? Like green foliage. Like you walk into one area.
Oh, yeah.
It's green foliage and a truck and some guards.
Well,
and then the next screen is more green foliage with some guards in different spots.
And that's the thing. Didn't the second one start out? Solid Snake just crawls up onto a dock and it's just like 100 tanks lined up.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's a little bit ridiculous. I think we can change that. But that would be a perfect new game for them to just,
And it would perfectly continue on from 5, because then you can be like, okay, what happened after this when Venom? Right. It would be perfect to add in there. And then you can incorporate all the stuff from 5 that you made up or that Kojima just put in there and was like, yeah, this happened.
Well, trust
me.
The problem would be that, I don't think we need any more retcons in the Metal Gear universe. But at the same time, I mean, this doesn't even need to be a retcon. It could just be a reimagining of the second game, and I guess it would be called Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, but it would be almost different. I think it would have to be different.
You wouldn't even have to call it Metal Gear 2. You could just call it Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Take the solid away.
Well, like you said, combining the first and the second game would
make them, because you'd have to, because they're so short. Unless you padded it with a bunch of other stuff, they're so short.
I wonder what the speedrun world record is for the first game.
That's a good question.
Let's see. I bet it's 7 minutes.
I can't. An hour? Or no, a little shorter, longer.
30,
shorter than that.
35 minutes? No,
30,
Metal Gear.
Is that your guess?
Metal Gear on the... No, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
24 minutes and 30 seconds. So
Mm.
not that long.
Yeah, remakes, man, remakes. And that brings us to our next news. GTA Trilogy.
Yes.
Switch, PS5 or 4, PS4, PlayStations. I'm just going to say PlayStations if it's coming out on 5 and 4. And
Sony
obviously,
products.
I believe it's also Microsoft. Art direction is interesting. What do you think about it? Good or bad?
Yeah, no, you know what? I think it's great. I watched the trailer and I haven't like deep dived into it or anything, but I think it looks excellent. It combines what you would expect from like your GTA 5, but you know, add that to your Vice City or your San Andreas, and I think it looks great.
Yeah, you got the like still the pixelated art style of the characters.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of almost like cell shaded.
And I like that because it seems like, okay, here you can have your flashy lights and your reflections and your nice cars. And then here's for the people who play these games back in the day. Like it's like
yeah, exactly.
but it's not bad. I think it's great. I think it's charming. I think there's definitely potential there. And I think it's just so creative compared to let's use the GTA 5 make like CJ from the character models from the other game and just be like, yeah, that's CJ. If you look at
Right.
those character models right now, you're like, that's CJ.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even need to like if you played the game,
Yeah.
you just look at it and you're like, yep, that's him.
Yeah, that's Tommy Vercetti. That's I don't know what they called the first one. Wasn't he just protagonist?
Oh, no, he had a name.
Did he actually have a name?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he
he's
was
like
in Vice
French.
City, right?
No, he was in San Andreas. He appeared,
okay.
but he's a silent protagonist. I think his name
Yeah.
is Jean. I gotta look it up. I never played the
Yeah.
third. Like I never played the third one through. I just played it occasionally.
Funny story about the third game. I had rented a PlayStation 2 and it came in the PS2 when I got it, and I just kept the game.
Of course.
I was like, sweet, all right. I didn't even rent this. It's still in here.
That's amazing. You know what? renting games. Now I never rented a console when I was young. But renting games, going in like on a Friday night or whatever to Blockbuster and picking out a game to have for the weekend. Holy, that was the life.
Oh yeah.
I remember
yeah.
renting Super Nintendo games from there.
I rented more from Microplay. I don't think they had them in Ontario.
Microplay? Yeah, we had one
Yeah.
on Branch.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah, we did.
I remember I rented a console every weekend. My parents would rent a PlayStation 1. I still remember unzipping the case and opening it, and it was like one of those big, it was like an attaché case, but it had like styrofoam in it.
Yep.
And it like was cut out perfectly for the controller goes here, the console goes here, the memory card goes here, the plugs go here. And I remember, oh man, it was the best feeling taking it out, but the worst feeling putting it away on Sunday. It's like, man.
I never got that pleasure, unfortunately. Anyway,
Yeah.
going back to your question, what was the guy's name? It was Claude. Yeah.
Just Claude.
Well, I'm pretty sure he has
Claude protagonist.
Yeah. Mr. Claude. I thought it was Jean, but Jean-Claude.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, that's definitely where I combine those two thoughts.
Should have better kicks in the game. All right, some games that came out last week. Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater came out on October 28th, so that was like yesterday. I love Fatal Frame. I don't know if did you ever play the Fatal Frame games?
I never played it. I know you have a camera.
Yeah, and you take pictures of ghosts. Interesting. It's an interesting premise for a game.
That's got to be one of the first games where you can't actually. Well, I guess you do kind of attack stuff.
Yeah, you take to kill them. You take pictures. That's
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
for PlayStation 5.
I saw a commercial for that. It actually looks pretty cool.
It looks so fun. I wanna play it for sure. It's like you get to choose your paths, kind of, and every path takes you somewhere different. And then the fighting is very Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's what it looked like to me. I was like, whoa, are they using the engine for Final Fantasy VII Remake? They have to be. Because it is a Square Enix game. Because the fighting is almost exactly the same. The only difference is you just control Star-Lord, and then like everybody else has their like powers that you can interact with them using.
Right. Combine your powers.
Yeah, there's a lot of 80s music. The game is all about,
Of
80s
course.
music and taking it into the whole Guardians of the Galaxies from the MCU. Yeah, Stubbs the Zombie Rebel Without a Pulse came out on PlayStation 5 on October 26th.
Were you streaming that the other day?
I am streaming Stubbs actually right now. I'm almost at the end of it.
Oh, okay.
Almost. I'll probably get to the end of it on this weekend. If you want to tune in, it probably won't be still streaming by the time this goes up. Oh, the Dark Pictures anthology House of Ashes came out.
I have no idea what that is.
Have you ever heard of Until Dawn?
I must have.
It's like it's like one of those, a movie that you interact with.
Right, I've seen a lot of games like that, but
yeah, and this is the same creators made this game. There's like 5 playable characters, and anyone can live or die. It's like it changes the story.
Okay.
And
completely open-ended.
Right. And there's all different endings based on your choice. I played it with Sarah Until Dawn, and I almost had a perfect run. And then Sarah was like, "Oh, do this." And I'm like, "Ah, okay." And she ruined the whole thing.
Oh my goodness. Sleeping on the couch.
Unbelievable. Anyway, yeah, this one is 2-player online co-op, which is interesting. That would be cool.
That
Sounds
would be
pretty cool.
If only I had a PlayStation.
Oh, I think it might be coming out as well on Xbox One, so it might be on like Game Pass. Back for Blood, developers of Left 4 Dead.
Oh.
Yeah, Back 4 Blood, Left 4
yeah,
Dead.
yeah. I've heard like radio commercials for this actually.
Yeah, it's doing pretty good. It's not Left 4 Dead, obviously, and that's what everybody's comparing it to. Left 4 Dead 2 is amazing. So
right. How much different could it be? This isn't.
It follows this very similar formula, except there's like a card skill tree kind of where you collect these cards and they give you different skills.
Okay, so it's kind of like Dead by Daylight. There's kind of a card game system in that.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight has the skills, but I just want to say I love that game.
I just bought that game, so we should play it.
I think we should. It's cross-platform too.
Yep.
I have it for PC.
Yeah,
I think
me too.
Get into
Jessica has it, and Bill and Cy both have it too.
Oh yeah, I think that's that needs to happen. That's happening. I might stream that. That might be fun.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. Next up, games we've been playing. Enough talk about all these games that we don't have. Let's talk about what the games that we have, we're playing, we're enjoying. What have you been playing?
I have been playing The Long Dark.
Mm-hmm.
I just finished episode 4. I want to say it wasn't yesterday. I think it might have been yesterday. It's really good.
Yeah, it's holding up well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one of those games where people ask me, they're like, "Oh, you think I should? Do you think I'll like it?" Well, you know what? I really don't know. I think it depends.
True.
I think it depends on you. I think there are going to be people that hate the game, think it's absolute garbage, and there are people like me who
walking simulator. What is this?
Yeah, exactly. And there are people like me who absolutely love it. I heard that, episode 4 was coming out, and I plugged in my computer for the first time in over a year. So, yeah, I love it.
The Long Dark is a survival simulator, I would say.
Anything. They call it a simulator, somewhat. It's a dramatization, but...
Yeah, they give you a lot of cautions when you play the game.
Right. The quiet apocalypse, I think that's really, that's a really good way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one more.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
This is going to throw you for a loop.
Ooh.
13 for the GameCube.
Oh, you busted out the GameCube?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that game, they remade it, and from what I've seen, I have zero interest in playing the remake. So I went back and played the
horribly.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's a lot of things that I think they shouldn't have changed, and they quote unquote modernized it, but it's
bastardized it.
Yeah, it was just better than the original. The original game is so good, it's so unique, and I just had to play it again.
Absolutely, such a good game. I remember borrowing that from you.
Yeah, and it's, you know what, it's I mean, I haven't played like a whole bunch of super hard games or anything. Like I never played Dark Souls or anything, but 13 is one of those games. It's so unfair. The enemies, like you don't have any god frames. So if there is a guy unloading on you, you don't get any god frames. Your health just goes pretty much right to zero with every shot you take. So it's got to be one of the most difficult games I have ever played. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah. Another game. Have you heard of Deathloop?
Nope, I don't think so.
Oh, Deathloop is definitely something you should check out. It's really interesting. It's like basically are dying each time in this one area. So you die, and each time you get a little farther and a little farther, and you pick up better guns, and you can go during the day or go at night. It's a sneaking game, and it's a first-person sneaking game.
Sure. So I'm kind of seeing a little gif of the way it works. It's really interesting.
And there's actually a little mechanic where you're hunted by another player, and you're trying to get through this area, and they're trying to kill you.
Like an actual real person?
Like an actual real person, but also I believe it is AI as well sometimes.
Yeah, because they say there's single player, and then there's also a multiplayer. So
yeah, but yeah, it's really interesting. You can say if you were going and it's a lot of watching your enemies and kind of waiting for openings to get around them, or to like knowing where every enemy is to kill them, because when you die you have to restart. You don't get checkpoints, you have to restart from the beginning of the area. And you could be like, okay, this is really contested during the day, I'll go at night to get by this. And then it's similar to like MGS5,
right,
when you could go at night and things like that. But in this game, like some areas could be like bumping at night instead.
Sure, of course.
So that's a game I really want to check it out.
That looks really cool.
Yeah, definitely stream that for sure. I've been playing Super Metroid.
Really?
Yeah, Super Metroid.
Have you played it before?
I have. Yeah, I have.
Have you played it through?
I have not finished it. I've played it. I'm farther than I've ever been, and that's pretty funny. Because it's not far. I really like Zero Mission and Fusion, but I never went through Super Metroid, and now I am, and that game is like doesn't tell you anything.
No, there's no where to go next.
It's like you can't get stuck because there's always a way to get through, but you feel like you've gotten stuck. Like,
well, that's one of those games where I guess I actually haven't played it. I've only seen it been played, but I played Metroid a lot, and
yeah,
I think it's one of those games where you get a new upgrade and you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, obviously this is going to open up a door, so you're searching through your map to see which door can be unlocked by, missiles or
I love that
ice beam. Yeah, I think that's really cool. Obviously, with Metroid Prime, they added a hint system, but it really wasn't necessary. Obviously, you could turn it off.
Yeah, I just got the Varia suit,
Varia suit, yeah.
And I got the Spazer.
Oh, the Spazer beam.
The Spazer beam. And I have to say I had to use a guide to find the Spazer, and when I found it, I was so mad. It was like a little block right as you exited a door. It was above you, and it was different than the block beside it.
Well, that's another one of those things. Yeah, I know what you mean. It doesn't hold your hand. It's like it can be so dumb. You're what do? You basically want to try bombing everything because it's like, there might be a hidden energy tank behind here or something. It's ridiculous.
And you're bombing every single thing. Like you're shooting every wall. At one point I got stuck because there was one area it was just a square room, and there was a floor I had to blow up, but I just didn't blow up the right spot. So I thought the floor couldn't be blown up. But it was one spot I missed with the bomb. Son of a bitch.
Got him.
Other than that, I've been playing D2 Resurrected, I believe it's called. Yeah. Diablo.
So how is that? I've heard some negatives.
The negatives are mostly connectivity issues.
Yeah, like you can't match with people very easily, right? Server issues or whatever.
I've been playing with Eric, and I have not run into any crashes except one. We were going to fight the Ancient. So there was this whole spiel we had to do because someone found this bug and it was crashing everybody's game. And not only was it crashing games, it was rolling you back. And rolling back is the worst thing that you could ever have happen in games like Diablo.
Rolling back. What is that?
So rolling back means you go from wherever the game checkpointed last. I can't really like stay the last time you went to town.
I know what you mean. There's like there's random like hidden checkpoints in games like that. Like if your power were to just cut off randomly, you're not gonna open up the game and be in the same spot.
Yeah.
It'd be like quest finishing and quest markers and stuff. I get you.
A rollback is basically it rolls you back to there.
That's horrible.
So anything you find, any rares you get, you roll back and you don't have them.
That's really unfortunate. Did you get anything like any legendaries or?
Fortunately, no. We're still on normal, so it was like normal. You don't get any really besides runes when you fight the Countess.
Sure.
But so the ancients. So when you start the battle with the ancients, they have to, how they become not stone anymore.
Yeah, they jump off. Yeah.
So what we didn't know is for the game not to crash, you had to wait for 3 seconds before moving while they were transitioning into humanoid form.
Really?
So, but what we did was we activated it and we moved, obviously, because we're both casters and we're going to be far away.
Yeah, and the ancients are also one of the most difficult fights in that game.
Yeah, and it crashed. So, and then after the fact, we read up on it, and that
sucks.
How
far back did you go?
I was still in the last part of the act, but we had not gone to the last waypoint yet. So we had to go back and find that.
Oh, okay.
And it's not as simple as just like because the game changes every time you play it, right?
Right. So basically the dungeon before the Ariat Summit.
Yeah. So that's what I've been playing. Mostly. Sarah's been playing a lot of Persona 5. Yeah, so did you notice how games are just not the same as they were? And I'm not saying in the sense that, like, back in my day, games were better, music was better, blah, blah, blah. But it's just, I don't know if it is nostalgia goggles or just in general.
You know what? I don't think it's that. I think you are onto something, and I think anybody who has been around video games for I guess I'll say like 10 or 15 years now, it's a business, right? It's a business first, and the people who are investing money in video games generally aren't the ones that are playing them. It's going back to what you said. You gotta appease the shareholders, and unfortunately, it really sucks because video games, in my opinion, are a form of art. I think they're more of a form of art than some films, and you can really tell when somebody puts their heart and soul into a game, and you can really tell when they don't.
Oh yeah.
And I'd say it's pretty rare where you get a game that's truly like remarkable in that regard.
Well, and that's the thing I like to look at. Like the last game that really was so strange to me, but I gotta hand it to him, and I always will hand it to him. Death Stranding was out there, but every time I play that game, I'm always like, whoa, like, oh, that's cool, or like, oh, this is cool. It's like, oh, this is strange, but it works. And it's like Kojima's brain just does not work like a normal person.
Well, yeah, Hideo Kojima is one of those exceptions, right? He I'm sure he has a lot of money. I don't know his net worth or anything, but he definitely takes his time. He's not afraid to delay games to make them what he wants them. And I never played Death Stranding. I mean, no offense to you, I have absolutely no desire to, but I can definitely see that there are things that he designed in that game when he was directing it, and he said, I don't care. This is what I want.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, like original IPs, like everything now is like remake, remaster, 2, 3, sequel,
Yeah, of course.
And no, I'm not saying nothing is original, and a lot of the original things I see are just like, there was one game I saw, I don't remember if it was 3 or it was one of the shows that they just recently did, and it was a anime girl, like insert generic anime robot near girl, and it was a hack and slash like Devil May Cry.
Okay.
No defining qualities whatsoever.
Right. You don't even need to know the story. You just play it.
I'm like, this doesn't even look appealing. Like, why would you show this it just looks like a bare bones hack and slash game. And I'm sure people are going to be like, "Oh, but this and that and the enemies and
Yeah,
I don't know. I was like that didn't affect me at all. Like
Well,
that didn't work for me at all.
something that's really taken off in the last couple of years, and I think that pretty much every console and obviously PC supports is indie games and indie developers being able to put their content out there for like, cheap, because a lot of indie games are cheap. Now I will say, the caveat being that since anybody can just, put games out, there's a lot of crap, and there's a lot of games where you can just tell it's just it's just a cash grab. Like, you download this game and it's like, it's got a nice polish to it because it's easy to polish. But then you start to play it and you're like, what is this? Like, I paid like, whatever, $20 for this? Like,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I see so many, like, especially on the Switch, there's like so many indie games. So many.
Jessica is really into the indie developers, and she's run into that a lot. There's just a lot of crap.
And it's a lack of content too. It's like everything they show in their little like tiny little trailers on the store or whatever is like the gist of the game, and that's pretty much it.
Hey, don't talk about Metal Gear Solid 5 like that.
Oh. Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. So yeah, there is a lot of charm in indie games, but yeah, for sure. There's also a lot of games where it's just like, okay, you can tell they're just trying to con people into buying it, and it's just like, oh, is that really what I just paid for?
Exactly. Remember when you just got a game and it was done? You bought a game and hey, that's the game. You don't need to get an expansion. You don't need a DLC.
Right.
That was the game. And then when you did get a game that got an expansion, back then you were like, shit, yes. I wanted more of this. But it wasn't like the wanting more of it like this isn't done. It was, I just want more. Like, give me more. I'll pay for more of it.
Think about Diablo 2. It's your perfect example right there. It's
Diablo 2 for sure.
Diablo 2 was a game that was essentially complete. Obviously, they left it on a cliffhanger ending, but if you never bought Lord of Destruction, it was an amazing game in and of itself. And then Act 5 comes, and you get a whole bunch more content, new characters, new act, whole new monsters to go with it, and new cinematics, new story. It's like, hell yeah, I want that expansion.
Not to mention a bigger storage.
Oh yeah, really.
Even if it was just a little bit, but that's what they added in Resurrected. They added 4, so you got your personal storage plus 3 shared storage, so you don't have to go and have a mule.
Yeah, Diablo 3 was like that though, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they just they kind of gave it, they did a lot of, do you remember going to get Diablo 3?
I do.
We took the bus to go get it.
Oh, yes, I remember.
And I stayed up all night. And when I went home, I didn't sleep. I just played. And I think I played a Demon Hunter was the class, right?
Yeah, I played Demon Hunter as well.
Yeah, and I really, really enjoyed Diablo 3 at the beginning. And I know, like,
I did too.
Not a lot of people did. They didn't like the bank thing, and I didn't understand because I wasn't into it yet.
You're talking about what is it, an auction house?
Or the real money auction house thing. It was like you could essentially make money from playing Diablo 3. Like you could sell your drops on it.
Yeah, that was really strange. And what a strange concept.
Anyway, so the next thing I want to talk about is something I feel doesn't get talked about too much, and that is games that influence your life in any way. So say you found something in a game that applied to real life and you started being interested in it, or you got into animating or graphic design or programming because you loved certain thing in one of these games, and this is what pushed you to do this. I want to talk about those games, and I wanted to see what your thoughts on that were.
Yeah, so I got really into mecha and hentai when I saw Otacon for the first time.
Really awakened something in me.
No.
And then I put them both together.
Yeah. No, but going back to Metal Gear Solid 1 though. You know what? It's funny. Everybody has I'm assuming everybody has somewhat of a tumultuous childhood. I mean, I know I did. I didn't really enjoy it. But there were a lot of things that you kind of come to terms with in your own mind. And Metal Gear Solid 1 was one of those games that actually really kind of changed. it molded the way I thought about certain things. I used to believe in fate, and at the end of it, you get your dialogue from Naomi Hunter, and she's like, you can't be allowed to be chained to fate. Like, you make your own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what I guess you could say. It was one of the themes that got Liquid killed in that game, right? So I think that is one of those things that it's really relevant in everybody's life, I imagine. But of course, that just goes all back to what you actually believe. But that influenced me greatly, I find.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Metal Gear, I have the same kind of situation with Metal Gear as well. It's so, I don't know if it's relatable, but you can take so much from it. Anybody can. Even whether it be like, like it's so strong with political things. But it's also a story about Otacon and Snake being people.
Yeah, it's a love story.
Yeah, it's, love can bloom on the battlefield.
Oh, man.
It's got a lot of corniness in it, but it's also got a lot of good messages. And I think that Snake Eater for me I'm very interested in survival and anything outdoors, bushcraft. At the time I was playing Metal Gear Solid 3, I was watching a lot of like Les Stroud, Survivor Man, and that really kicked off all those interests for me. It was really one of the first survival games out there. Because if you think about it,
it was pretty uncommon that you're in the middle of the bush or in the middle of the jungle in a video game. I mean, of course it happened, but there was no. Well, you had your stamina meter, which was directly related to like your eating and you're taking care of yourself in that game. And of course, it wasn't a survival simulator, but I can imagine that it would pique some interest in that. And I agree with you.
Definitely. It was so different. No, you never thought of that in a video game. It's like, whoa, I can't just like take a ration to heal myself. Like I got a bullet wound. I have to take a bullet out of my guy, and like so crazy. And just that whole setting and everything from Metal Gear Solid 3. I love the outdoors now.
Absolutely.
And I owe it a lot of it to Snake Eater and Les Stroud.
I still get influenced by video games, but it doesn't necessarily even need to be video games. Just any strong character really speaks to me. I'm not saying I'm really strong or anything, but these heroes in games I look up to, and they make me want to just be a better person. It's kind of cool. For sure. I hope it doesn't sound lame, but I think that we all strive to be better, I hope. And that's one of those vectors that really pushes me, which is interesting.
Yeah, see, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with looking up to characters that aren't real. I mean, people do it in books all the time. It's just a different medium. So, yeah. A lot of things that influenced my life a lot was Resident Evil. Way back when I first played it. I think I was actually like 5 or 6.
What?
And me and my brother played. My dad had rented a PlayStation, and they had it hooked up in the living room, and my brother and I got up early, and he fought the snake for the first time, and I was like, whoa, terrifying. and I was terrified of zombies for like the longest time, and then I was like, I liked being scared. I thought it was good. Not like good in the way, it was thrilling. Be scared, like it's a good thing to feel.
Well, there's certainly that feeling you get when it's something scary, but it's not actually going to harm you. It's kind of like a positive feeling.
It's so seldom I feel like that anymore. It's like gone. You don't really get that anymore after you've played so many horror games. I mean, you look at anybody who plays them all the time, they have to ham up how much they get scared, because
you should hear Jessica. Man, she screams. You've seen her play scary stuff before.
She plays things that aren't even scary, and she screams.
Good for her.
Yeah, I envy that. That's for sure. Sarah's the same way. Like, she couldn't even walk down a hallway in Dead Space. Oh man,
I gotta say though, those games are a horror masterpiece. That's for sure.
Did you know that that's being remade?
No, or another remake? No, I'm just kidding. Well, that's good. You know what? Those are games that are definitely worthy of it. I mean, they're still pretty current. I mean, how many generations ago? 2, which really isn't that long, because Xbox 360 was pretty good. So
not being made by the same developers.
Oh, interesting.
I think it was Visceral Games. It's Visceral Games, and they're not making it. I don't know, but it's still EA.
Half of everything's EA now, isn't it?
It's true. Well, that's going to do it for today, guys. It was really good talking to you, Jesse. Yeah.
It was a great pleasure being here. Thank you very much.
If you guys like the podcast and want to hear some more, let me know down in the comments. If you guys want to talk about any influences that you had, you can drop a comment in the box below and I'll bring them up and we'll talk about them on the next one. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.